Good evening, everybody. Expecting Legislator Headwell, but he's not here, and personnel is leading off, so I'd like to call the Personnel Committee meeting to order on his behalf. There is not an agenda for tonight as far as potential resolutions are concerned. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about as far as personnel is concerned? Because if not, we do have our DA, Christina Pearson, here to discuss an add-on resolution that we will be adding on next week. But she's going to give us all the background on it today so that we're not in the dark next week upon receiving the add-on. So without further ado, DA Pearson.
Thank you, and thank you for allowing me to add this on this evening. So I am requesting to add on a position of full-time law associate, and this is a position where the candidate has graduated from law school, has taken the bar exam, but awaiting the results, and I would like to request a full-time position. I do have someone in mind, a candidate who has been a law school intern in our office for at least 3 summers. So this is someone who has worked in our office, knows our system, has already is familiar with that, and he's taken the bar exam. Now the thought was I would have that individual apply for the law school or law associate position, right? Oh, sorry, legal law school intern position. But the minimum requirements for that is that that candidate has to be enrolled in law school. So this person doesn't qualify because he's actually overqualified in that he's graduated from law school. The need for the position is, as you might be aware, I have several, multiple vacant full-time ADA positions within my office. And currently my part-time ADA is leaving and taking a full-time position with the state and making considerably a lot more money. And I don't begrudge him that, but I'm going to be short. I've lost a couple of law school interns who were very helpful this summer. So the idea is to get this individual in to assist in the office. The need is there, and I would be able to fund it within my budget for 2026. And the idea is in October, hopefully he gets some good news, that he passes the bar and is admitted to practice. And I will not be looking to continue this position going forward because at that point, that individual will be able to transition into a full-time ADA position. And then maybe I'll be staffed. So I've worked with Nicole, and I believe she's working on numbers, and the estimate that she's given, like I said, I have within the lines of my current budget, so it's not asking for any additional funds from the general fund.
So it's an existing line for that job, or you're going to be maneuvering money from another? That's what I was going to ask you. What is the accounting line going to look like on the resolution?
So it will, the funds to fund this position will come from line 147.
Which is?
My ADA felony crimes, which I thought I had a candidate for, but
Okay.
You know, it didn't come through. So I have funds in that, and I'll be able to use a portion of what's in there to fill this position.
All right.
And fund the position.
Transition it into another existing line item for next year.
It'll be a new, right?
It'll be a new line item for this year.
For this year. But will we be subtracting another position, or is this, you know, is this going to be an additional position that goes along with everything else you're looking to fill? Are we going to take an ADA away or something?
No, so currently I have vacant ADA positions, four vacant ADA positions, three of which are funded. One, I believe, was not funded from the previous year, but still promised that if I were to ever find,
Right,
yes.
right.
And so you still have that open. So the idea is that that individual would be transitioning into one of those vacant
That's what I
full-time.
mean.
So it's not
Yeah.
creating
It'll
any
be a wash for
additional
2027.
burden.
It'll be a wash for 2027. Okay, that's all I was looking for. Okay.
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions for our DA? Thank you, Christina.
Okay, thank you.
For making yourself available this evening to explain that as well.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you. All right, anything else anybody wants to talk about under personnel? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. Legislator Pollock, Legislator Sweet. Adjourned at 6:06. In Legislator Kowalczyk's absence, I will be calling the Health and Human Services Committee to order here at 6:06. And just bring it up here. Is there anything anybody would like to discuss before we get into the resolutions? Hearing none. We'll get into the first resolution. Sarah, I'm glad you took your place at the podium.
Yep, and before I do that, I'm going to hand out something, and I'm going to ask you all, how many of you have actually heard of what a 7:30 CPL competency hearing is? Mine doesn't matter.
Nobody, but we're expecting that you do.
I might know
Yep.
a thing or two. I'm sure AJ does. Okay, so I'll just give you a little bit of information on what a 7:30 is. A 7:30 order is a order by a judge, and it is typically requested by the defendant's attorney stating that the defendant lacks capacity to understand their charges. So the person being charged with a crime, their attorney is saying that this person committed this crime because they have no capacity to understand the crime nor the Historically, when I started this position, the New York State Office of Mental Health would pay 50% of the daily charges for an inmate to be placed in a secured facility. Our secured facility is Marcy. So on the back page of your handout that I gave you, you will see that there are daily rates. So Marcy, of course, is the most expensive, but that's where I have to send my patients. And it is $1,571.68 a day. So the cost for a 6-month stay for Hotel Marcy is $282,902 for 6 months. This is an unfunded mandate at this time from New York State. I did write it at the bottom. It is part of New York State Mental Hygiene Law 4303 that counties must pay these bills. So regardless of whether you not approve this resolution tonight, I am still on the hook for these dollars, and we have to pay. The even better news is this is one of 4 more that are coming, because I have 5 inmates currently who have been deemed incapacitated by psychiatry. So each inmate has been evaluated by 2 New York State board certified psychiatrists to say that they have no capacity to understand their charges nor the process of a trial, and they must be restored to competency before they can go to trial. The DA and I have a meeting to discuss a few of these cases on Friday and to see what we can do to prevent some of them from having to go to Marcy. One of the patients is an end-stage dementia patient and is not going to ever be restored to competency. When I started this position, we had an 86-year-old man. The county attorney helped me with this case who was deemed incompetent. We did end up getting the charges reversed. We didn't get any of our money back, but we stopped paying the bill. So this is unfunded mandates at $1,571 a day. NYSAC, for those of you who are involved or not involved in NYSAC, has been working for years on legislation to get this reversed. I know there are a group of county executives that go to NYSAC every year and work with legislators and folks from the governor's office to talk about this funding. There are some counties that pay $4 and $5 million a year. If I am not able to get these charges and work with these inmates to find other forms of treatment, my estimate for this year, 2026, we will be at about $2.6 million in the cost for these inmates. So 97,000 is just the start of that 2.6 million if I can't find other options. So fully transparent, I have nothing to hide. So hit me.
Do you see this, I'm sorry,
No,
do you
go ahead.
see,
We get a sponsor in a
oh,
Yeah, I want to do the resolution first of all. But yes, Legislator Pollack, be ready there.
well, no, it's all right, we'll get the sponsor first.
Yeah, all right, so our first resolution here is amending the 2026 operating budget, Montgomery County mandated forensic billing. I need a sponsor and a second.
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Majewski, I'll second it. Discussion, well, we've entered some discussion already. Go ahead, Legislator Pollack.
So in years past, it obviously hasn't increased this much. Do you see in the future, I know you say you have 5 already now, in the future, this continuously happening and getting more than just 5?
So usually I have 1 to 2 every year. This is far beyond what has ever happened. I think, you know, having the sheriff here and the DA, they both can tell you that the population that they are seeing on the other side of this is getting more and more ill, to the point where, yes, people are committing crimes and they do not have the capacity to understand the process, the judicial process, or the crimes that they have committed. But I just want you to know, these 5 that I have currently, there are 6 or 7 who we've evaluated them and we're not paying for. So there's the flip side of that too, right? So we've done, the DA and the sheriff and I have worked with a number of inmates that have been evaluated, that the psychiatrists have said, no, this person is 100% competent and can understand the charges, and this is just, we need to move them along. These just happen to be 5 extremely high-profile inmates with extremely severe, persistent mental illness and, unfortunately, charges.
Chair.
And the DA can help me out on the charges.
Yeah.
And if I can also add that we, or I, in the DA's office, and we work together. However, we have hearings also in court to contest some findings. And we had recently a hearing scheduled, and I did proceed to where I contested the psychiatrist's determination of incompetency. And we had a 3rd psychiatrist appointed and evaluated this individual. And at that point—
At your hire, a separate independent one?
No, I pay for them. My department pays for them. We pay for the psychiatry. She pays for the witnesses. Yes.
But the idea being somebody outside of the system to evaluate it.
They're always, all the psychiatrists are outside of the system. They are either prime care psychiatrists, or I hire independent psychiatrists from way upstate that do
Okay.
telepsych.
I was kind of interpreting it like, all right, they use their psychiatrist, now we're gonna use ours to interpret it, or one that's
Yep.
independent of that operation.
Yep, so actually all the psychiatrists fall under me, so they are independent. So they can't be jaded or they have no preconceived knowledge or workings with these inmates. They have to be found by the Department of Mental Health to be impartial and not currently working. So if there's an inmate that is already assigned to psychiatry, that psychiatrist by law cannot perform the 730. It has to be the mental hygiene director finding an independent.
Gotcha,
Yes.
okay.
And so, yes, so there is some, you know, we don't just take
The word
these
for it.
findings, we have hearings and we contest it. And then at that point, the judge decides.
Okay.
So, just to make
Yeah.
a little clarification.
Yeah, because we've had 11 730s already this year, and so some of them are never going to come before you, but these happen to be.
Legislator Sweet, you had a question?
So if these people are mentally incapacitated, how are they out by themselves in the public?
That's a really good question. It is. I mean, if we talked about each one of these individuals and you were to be involved in the case, you would know exactly the parameters of what we were talking about, and you would be asking yourself the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I'm thinking if they're that incapacitated that they don't know what crime that they've committed or what ramifications are,
Yeah.
should they be living on their own?
Yeah.
Independently.
But I will say, and this is my advocacy hat. Not every criminal has a mental illness, and not everybody that is mentally ill commits a crime, right? So when you have both of those things together, sometimes the severity is sort of like that perfect combination for an act of violence against somebody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sarah,
Yes.
the numbers here,
Yes.
and kind of piggybacking on Michelle's question. Obviously, the 100 we budgeted last year that we all passed was based on some kind of recent history, right?
Mhm.
But what went into that 100? I'm just curious. Did you is there any math like, yeah, I'm figuring 5 people for 6 days apiece, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and I'm not saying that to scrutinize it, I'm just
Nope.
wondering.
I'll actually go back. So I'm glad you brought that up. And I know you all don't normally like when I point this out, but I had originally put in my budget $150,000.
I mean, that's not even gonna be enough, though.
No, but that was based on the previous 2 years. So this is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like Legislator Pollock asked about, is this normal? This is not normal. This is
Right.
not a normal year. So
Right.
I usually take the previous 2-3 years and say it was roughly this.
Yeah.
And then in the executive budget, it got cut to 125, and then it got brought down to 100,000.
Okay.
But yes, this is a very, very different year. This is
Yeah.
in my 10, almost 11 years in this position, I've never had 5 evals in 1 year, let alone 5 individuals found to be incapacitated.
Okay.
It's usually 1, 2. And again, with the help of the county attorney, once they are placed in a facility,
Okay.
we've been able to negotiate with the facility to get some of the diagnostics tweaked a little bit so that they are released back to the custody of our esteemed Sheriff Jeff Smith, because that's where they end up back
That
to,
was-
unfortunately.
More for my edification going into this year's budget. Than
Yeah.
it was second guessing what was behind the number in the past. I'm sure it was based on sound data, it seems to be, and I know this happens with our self-insurance, right? I mean, there are times where we have many people who are sick and ill and raise our rates, and there are years where that doesn't happen. So
Yeah.
I kind of figured it was that kind of thing, but. And when did that rate go from 50%, to 100%?
It was either 2022 or 2023. I'd have to look back at the law to see when it actually changed, but it's only been a few years. It hasn't been that long.
Okay.
The state decided, and again, like I said, there's a group at NISAC of executives every fall and winter conference that get together and work on this group, because I sit, of course, on that committee, the Public Health Mental Health Committee for NISAC, and this is always, and we have 3 executives who are very, very big into the 730 legislation. We have worked to get legislation put forth in front of the governor that individuals can't stay if they are found to be incapacitated and not being able to be restored to competency after 90 days, then they need to be returned to their home county. So there was actually an article, and I didn't have a chance to print it out, but I can send it to you, that is actually going to be moving forward at some point and go before the governor, because there are people with end-stage dementia, with traumatic brain injury, that fall into these categories that no amount of therapy or medications is going to make them restored to competency to understand a criminal charge.
Okay. All right, well, needless to say, I'm gonna quote The Godfather here and say, between Sarah and Christina, we need you to use all your powers and all your skills to try and minimize the impact of these remaining cases, so that we're not in a $2 million range here, because obviously that would be budgetarily catastrophic for us.
And I did look in my budget to see if there was any funds that I could transfer from. However, there's just not, because again, these
Okay.
dollars, like I can't use opiate abatement funds because that's OASIS dollars. This is an OMH program. I can't use jewel funding because again, this is an
Everything is
OMH.
tranched into.
Yeah, it's, yeah, and it's, you know, it, and the law clearly states, and that's why I wrote it at the bottom for you, law 4303 of mental hygiene law clearly states it must be paid out of county coffers.
Okay,
Chair, really quick, all
Yes.
these individuals right now are currently at this facility, or are they?
They're in different places, so some of them are at the facility, some of them are still at our correctional facility waiting to be placed.
all right. If there's no other questions or dialogue on this resolution, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that carries on to next week's full board meeting. And our next resolution, amending the 2026 operating budget. Do I have a sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Muehlbeck, Legislator Sweet. Discussion. Is there anything you'd like to add to this, Sarah?
This is good news, we have more money coming in, that'll be able to cover salaries.
Okay.
I mean, right? Can I get a smile out of you, please? Something? Yay!
Okay.
All right, nothing. All right, sorry.
All right, if there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that carries to next week's meeting. If there's nothing more to discuss under Health and Human Services, a motion to adjourn.
A motion.
Legislator Majewski and Fiorello at 6:21.
Okay, we'll call the Public Safety Committee to order at 6:21. First thing on the agenda is discussion. Anyone have anything to discuss pertaining to this committee? Hearing none, I'll move on to the resolutions. First resolution is a resolution amending the 2026 operating budget, 2025 and 2026 Public Safety Answering Point Grant Program. I'll sponsor. I need a second.
I'll second.
Legislator Pollock, discussion. Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Move that to the full board. Next resolution is a resolution amending the 2026 operating budget, 2025 and 2026 State Interoperable Communications Grant Program. I need a sponsor. Mr. Eldwood, Chairman Pep. Discussion. Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Move that to the full board. Next resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement accepting the FY 2023 State Hazardous Materials Hazmat Program grant funds and amending the 2026 operating budget. Need a sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Muehlbeck and Majewski. Discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Move that to the full board. Next resolution authorizing the county executive to sign an agreement accepting the FY 2024 State Hazardous Materials Program grant funds and amending the 2026 operating budget. Need a sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Take your pick.
I picked.
Everybody wants a sponsor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Move that to the full board. Next resolution authorizing change in EMS billing rates. I'll sponsor. Need a second?
I'll second.
Legislator Elwood, discussion.
Hey, Jeff, do we know what the rate's gonna go to and what it's going to do to the 2027 budget?
There's never a guarantee what it's going to do to the budget because it depends on the type of calls that
Yep.
we respond to. I do have a list that I can provide what they're going to go to.
Okay.
I don't have it memorized though.
Is it 10% more, 20%?
I thought it was attached,
It is.
actually.
Yes, it's attached.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a 10.
I totally missed that.
Yeah.
But if not, I can get it for you.
No, we got it. Sorry about that, sir.
Sorry. I wish I could give you some sort of guarantee, but it's impossible to know how. It should affect it positively, I guess, is the answer.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any
Did
further?
did you look at it, Legislator Muehlbeck?
Yes.
You could see a couple $100.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
A couple are pretty big though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the MVA ALS 2, we did not charge for that in 2026?
Yeah, no, we did, but I believe, I'd have to look at the list, I apologize, I don't have it with me. But the items listed are increases that were either not charged and are going to be charged, or as an increase in the charge, and they're listed in that list.
Okay.
And again, it's still modeling our current billing practices, so it will be insurance company driven or Medicaid reimbursed.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Move that to the full board. Next resolution amending the 2026 operating budget and authorizing the executive to sign contract. I'll sponsor. Need a second.
I'll second.
Legislator Fiorello. Discussion. Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Move that to the full board. Next resolution amending the 2026 operating budget. Need a sponsor.
Not sponsored.
Legislator Majewski.
I'll second.
Legislator Chairman Pep. Discussion. Hearing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Move that to the full board. Anything under other? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. Fiorello and Muehlbeck. Thank you.
I'd like to call the Fiscal Services Committee to order at 6:26 PM. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Mead, would you like to come up and talk about the window project quick? And just explain the bid process and what happened with it?
So we opened bids on the 11th of this month. There were 3 bidders for the window project. That was part of the capital project program. The low bid came in at $143,000 and change. Second bid was $145,000 even. I think there was a $1,300 difference. We're doing the north facing side of the building in this phase, so facing Park Street. We contacted the low bid, which was out of Long Island. Sierra Contracting, I believe the name of the company was. It's part of the attachment to the resolution this evening. They, after a review with them, the window that was specified for the building is from Cass & Keller right here in Fonda to match the first phase. They chose their own window out of a manufacturing company down near them because they found a cheaper window. But the base of the design, the window spec was from our provider here in Fonda to match what was there. So then upon further review, they only bid 6 windows. There's 32, so they looked at all the sizes of the windows that were spec'd, and they didn't look at quantity 5. They just assumed it was 6, and there's actually 32. So they sent myself an email. I forwarded off to Megan that they've retracted their bid. So we're going with the second bidder, Saul's Glass. They're out of the Utica area. They did phase 1. They do good work. So that's where that stands. Legislator Muehlbeck.
And Eric, the cost, I mean, as the resolution says, it's within the capital budget, but I guess, going forward, it would be good to, to also indicate how much was allocated for it.
Yeah, so we allocated $125,000 in the capital project plan. I think we put $600,000 in critical maintenance money when we did this towards building. So, and it was a year later after we passed the plan.
Yeah.
So it went up
Yeah.
a little bit, $20,000 over the course of a year. So
Yeah, and I'm just saying, for future reference, it'd be good to have it in the resolution,
I could do that.
That's how much it was, and this is how much we budgeted for it in the capital, this is, that kind of thing, so, okay. Thank you.
Well, the attachment isn't on the resolution.
It was in the emails because it was an add-on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So the first resolution is a resolution awarding bid from Montgomery County Annex Window Project. Can I get a sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Sweet, Legislator Pollock. Any discussion or further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Moves on to the full board. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Motion to move or adjourn. Legislator Pollock, Legislator Sweet.
I'd like to call the Economic Development Committee meeting to order at 6:30. First thing on the agenda is discussion. Hearing none, we'll move right into the resolutions. Our one and only resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a revolving loan fund agreement for Heated Roof System LLC and Temperature Manufacturing LLC. Sorry if I said that wrong. I need a sponsor and a second.
I'll sponsor.
I'll second.
Chair Pep and Legislator Muehlbeck. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? That will move to the full board. Anything under other? Hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
All motion.
Legislator Ferriello and Legislator Majewski, 6:30.
This time I can call the Education Government Committee to order at 6:31. Is there any discussion before we start? Hearing none, we'll go to the first resolution amending the 2026 operating budget, Board of Elections. Do I have a sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Sweet
I'll second.
and Legislator Majewski. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Then I'll move to the full board. The next resolution appointing member to the Hamilton, Fulton, Montgomery Energy Pricing Consortium.
I'll sponsor.
Chair Pep,
I'll second.
second by Legislator Muehlbeck. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Then I'll move to the full board. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. Legislator Majewski. Legislator Sweet. At 6:32.
Okay, I'd like to call the Budget and Finance Committee to order at 6:32 PM. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to the first resolution. First resolution is the resolution accepting bids for the 2026 online real property tax foreclosure auction. Need a sponsor?
I'll sponsor.
Legislator Elwood and Legislator Farrell. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Moves to the full board. Resolution we're going to resolution approving the abstract of audited claims. Need a sponsor? Legislator Ferrello and Legislator Pollock. Discussion. Everybody got a spreadsheet on their desk here, and with the proposed budget. Does anybody have any questions? It looks like there's some pluses and some
In your
minuses.
binders,
It's in your binder, sorry.
the first page in your binders.
Legislator Majewski, let's just go down category by category if you don't mind.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah.
So
Chair.
obviously, the first couple of categories, the first category of our salaries are there, no changes there whatsoever. We've got a change in office furniture equipment, positive change there of $250 for the clerk. Continuing down, office supplies, a little bit of an increase there. Professional services remained the same, travel costs remained the same. There was a slight increase in association and membership dues, a slight increase in legal notices, but everything pretty much stayed pretty much the same there. There's only about $1,000 change from year over year.
I have a comment.
Yeah,
please. Professional services, that's our Bonadillo contract. Just want to put it on everybody's radar, this is the last year of that contract, okay? So next year, who's ever in this seat and who's ever the budget chairman, we gotta go out to bid for that next year. So just make a mental note of that.
When does that come due?
It originally covered through the 26 audit, which would be this year's audit, but it happened in 27.
So it'll go for bid in January or?
Probably by March, I would say. I don't know. Sean, when do we usually get it out to bid by?
I would say probably you'd want to do it by like April, May at the latest.
Yeah, so we have some numbers for budget time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep, clerk of the legislature, obviously, standard increase. The deputy clerk of the legislature, that's remained the same the last 3 years, but it had an increase this year, is that right?
That's a personnel question.
Personnel, is that right?
You know what, offhand, I'm not sure. I'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay, it looks like it was 4,000 for 25, 26, and then it was 4120 this year.
Should be a payday.
Probably a 3% increase.
Okay.
3% increase.
But it didn't have one last year? Or the year before?
Let me get back to
Okay,
That's the 4% stipend,
you. The what?
the $4,000 stipend.
Oh, but it had a raise in the budget?
Right.
yes,
$120.
$120.
It probably,
Yeah,
let me take a look at it, but it probably, I have to look at the grade, but it probably does not get that.
okay. Increase in the financial analyst, everything else remained the same. There was only about a $400 or $500 increase
That's
there.
contractual and
Yep.
includes longevity.
Overtime pay, 0, the auditor, and again, contractual increase, part-time employees increase, office supplies remained the same, professional services remained the same. This, insurances actually went down, but the professional services under judgments and claims remained the same, court-related expenses remained the same. There was, under the economic opportunity and development, there was a slight increase, about a little over, just actually it was $10,000. Soil and Conservation District remained the same, Conservation Council remained the same, and then operations for the county extension services was an increase from 94 to 97. But if you look at the total numbers, we actually are less this year than we were last year. Yes.
I was able to confirm that it should be 4,000. There's
Okay.
no increase in that position, it's an excluded payroll.
Okay, very good.
Nicole, that may be the same thing, what's in here with the auditor. That went up $1,000, and I think that should just be the,
35, that's correct. It looks like that was the same the last 3 years too.
Everybody mark that for when we go through. Or Sean, are you marking that?
yeah, and I'll send it to him.
Okay, okay.
That is also,
That's correct, 35?
that is correct.
It goes down to 35.
It is 35.
Okay.
And also for insurances, I usually get an estimate from the insurance company on what they're anticipating our quote will be for the following year.
Okay,
So that number, that 850 is likely going to be changing.
okay.
But the comment in the margin, is it starting out less because we paid for something in 25 that we
We did,
should have been paid in 26?
we did.
Okay, okay.
There was a loss of an invoice or a charge between the 25 coming from the executive's office,
Mhm.
going to the legislative, and we ended up having to pay it in 26. It should have been paid in 25. And if you need paperwork on it, I've got the things that went back and forth at some point too, Megan. So that's what I did, was take out that increase of what we had paid to make up for 25 and 26, and just deleted that to come up with the amount for this year.
Yep,
But it, once you get the estimate.
we're gonna have to change it anyway. probably.
Yeah, so
But,
I'll
yeah.
work on getting that for you
Okay.
guys.
Okay, very good.
And, all these categories, for those of you that have been around a while, weren't always in our budget. So these professional services, unallocated insurance, or that one, the other one for 50,000, for court-related expenses, and the three agencies, OFA, Soil and Water, and Cornell, we took them on into our budget. I guess because, for all intents and purposes, we're the ones approving them. So, but they've jockeyed throughout my history here between our budget and the executive's budget. So they gotta be someplace, you know what I mean? So it's not a evidence of our spending policies here. It's just, this is the house that we keep them in, so, which is our cost center, so.
Any further discussion? Nope. Make a motion to adjourn at 6:39.
So moved.
Chair Pap,
I'll second.
legislator Wheelback.
I'm gonna change these things, but she's $4,000.
I know. get them changed before, because I'm doing have to
Jeff,
give this to,
Did we miss a resolution?
John and.
No,
It's
pulled.
what we voted.
Yeah.
Very much,
Gotcha.
yeah.
That-
Thank
That's
you.
what I was gonna ask, because I saw it in there. and-
Where is, oh, here he is.
So the 35, the 4,000,
Where is the, there is Marco, I'm not seeing.
each second
Yeah,
page,
oh, got that.
second page,
Yeah.
about 13 down.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Did you?
That's it.
Yes, he, yeah.
Somebody wants to leave.